All right, so we're diving into the world of Tom Hanks today. Lots of requests for this one. Folks want to know, I think, what makes him such a beloved figure in Hollywood, beyond just the acting. We're looking at excerpts from pasted text today. Seems to offer a pretty good biographical sketch of the actor.
Yeah, it's interesting how Hanks really cultivates this image of being, the ordinary guy, even
Yeah.
though he's like this huge Hollywood star.
Right. It's not like he's trying to hide his success or anything,
No.
but he's not like, flaunting it either.
Exactly.
And I think, the source material really points to his upbringing, right? Just an
Yeah.
average kid, quiet neighborhood, big dreams. But I think, those early experiences like his parents' divorce, having to move around a lot,
Yeah,
that might have had something to do with how adaptable he is.
I would think so. I mean, adaptability is huge in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It's such a fickle industry, You have to deal with rejection. You have to deal with trends changing all the time. And just unexpected challenges, really.
Yeah.
I think that, anything that instills a sense of resilience early on is going to help you in a field like that.
Yeah. And it's interesting, there's this thread of likability throughout.
hmm
Even in like his school days, the source talks about how, teachers noticed his smile, friends thought he was funny, just genuinely funny. I wondered, did people close to him sort of see that star quality early on? Or was it something that really developed, over time as he sort of matured?
That is a good question. Was it raw charisma from the beginning? Or did he hone those skills as he got older? Because the source really emphasizes that when he first got into acting, like in his teens, he wasn't a natural.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he had to work at it, really dedicated himself to school plays and community theater.
That's fascinating. Because we often kind of assume those stars are like just born with it,
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see that, like, even with that likability, he still had to put in the effort.
Absolutely.
But I mean, were there moments where he doubted? Especially given like how competitive the acting world is.
Yeah.
Do you ever question if he should pursue it professionally?
Oh, absolutely he did. I mean, the source mentions that he felt the weight of those odds, whether acting could really be anything more than just a hobby for him. And I just think it's so interesting that someone like Tom Hanks with all those natural gifts still felt that uncertainty.
Right. Yeah, and that's where Raleigh comes in, right?
Yes.
The seasoned actor and director who becomes his mentor. This feels like a pivotal point.
Yeah.
What was it about Hanks that Raleigh saw?
Raleigh saw heart. He really believed that was like the key to making people believe in you as an actor. He wasn't just focused on talent. He was focused on that genuine warmth, that sincerity that you really see in Hanks's performances. It's that ability to connect with the audience, I think, on an emotional level,
Yeah.
that really sets him apart.
Yeah, that quote, "You've got heart, and heart is what makes people believe in you."
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement. Was that like a one-time pep talk?
Right.
Or did he play a more significant role in Hanks's early career?
Well, the source doesn't go into a ton of detail about that.
Okay.
But it does say that Raleigh's encouragement was like the push that Hanks needed to actually make the move to California,
Wow.
which is incredible to think about, like this leap of faith just fueled by his mentor's belief in him. That was the start,
Yeah.
of his whole Hollywood journey.
So he arrives in California, chasing the Hollywood dream. It couldn't have been easy, especially for someone, without connections.
Yeah.
Did he face those classic Hollywood struggles that we hear so much about?
Oh, he absolutely did. The source describes California as a harsh reality check. Even with that likability, that inherent likability and a mentor who believed in him, he still faced tons of rejections, criticisms about his appearance, those tough times, waiting tables, just battling self-doubt.
It's a reminder that, even those who we think of as like destined for greatness, they still face these obstacles.
Absolutely.
How did he navigate those early setbacks? Did you ever think about like giving up?
There's no mention of him wanting to quit, which is really saying something.
Yeah.
I think he held on to that belief in his heart, that core strength that Raleigh identified, and it eventually leads to his first break, a small role in a TV sitcom.
Oh, okay. So even in that early role, did people start to see, glimpses of the Tom Hanks we know today? Did he bring like that signature charm, the warmth, even to a minor part?
The source mentions that audiences really responded to him,
Yeah.
and critics started recognizing his natural comedic timing. So he's slowly building momentum, it seems like. Even in a small part, that heart could shine through.
Yeah. And that leads us to Splash,
Hmm.
right? Which is, for a lot of people, considered his big break, this quirky romantic comedy.
Hmm.
What was it about that role that resonated with audiences?
Hmm.
What propelled him to stardom? Was it just the unusual premise, or was there something more to it?
I think Splash provided like the perfect vehicle for Hanks's charm.
Mm-hmm.
He took this, fantastical story about a man falling for a mermaid and made it relatable, and
Right.
lovable. He didn't overplay the comedy. Instead, he infused the character with this genuine sweetness and a kind of vulnerability.
It's interesting you say vulnerability, because that's not something you always associate with like a traditional leading man, right?
Hmm.
Do you think that willingness to embrace vulnerability is part of what makes him so appealing?
I think it's a huge part of it. It disarms people. It makes them seem more human, more relatable. It's not just about being funny or charming. It's about allowing yourself to be seen, flaws and all. And that's incredibly powerful, especially on screen.
Hmm. So Splash kind of catapults him to stardom. We have the successes that follow, like Big, Sleepless in Seattle. He becomes this household name.
Hmm.
But fame can be tough, right? It can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
How did he handle the pressures of stardom, especially, with a growing family?
That's something I think we need to dive deeper into next time,
I agree.
because navigating fame and maintaining a grounded personal life, especially, with children from his first marriage and then remarrying Rita Wilson, that adds another layer of complexity to his story, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point. It'll be fascinating to see how he managed to balance those two worlds and whether fame brought any unexpected challenges. But we'll have to save that discussion for part 2 of our deep dive into the world of Tom Hanks. Welcome back. So we left off talking about Tom Hanks' rising stardom and how he balanced that with family life. He's married to Rita Wilson. He has kids.
Yeah.
And yet he manages to stay this relatable figure.
Right.
How did he avoid, becoming another Hollywood cautionary tale?
Well, it seems like it was a very deliberate choice on his part. The source emphasizes Hanks's commitment to his family. Even at the peak of his rom-com king phase with Big and Sleepless in Seattle, he was really active in making sure that he was a present father and husband.
It's almost counterintuitive. You'd think someone at the height of their career, they would get swept up in that Hollywood lifestyle.
Yeah.
But he just seems so grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any insights into how he managed this? Was it a conscious choice to shield his family from the spotlight?
There isn't anything specific about strategies or anything, but there's a consistency in his actions. For example, you see him on the red carpet, and he's often with his family.
Yeah.
And it's almost like presenting a united front. It's not just about him. It's about them sharing in the experience.
It sends a powerful message.
Yeah.
He's not letting fame define him. He's defining what fame means for him.
Exactly.
But around this time, we see his career take an interesting turn. He moves away from those lighter roles.
Mm-hmm.
He starts to tackle more complex, more dramatic characters. Was this a deliberate choice, or was it just, a natural progression?
It was a conscious decision.
Okay.
Hanks wanted to prove he was more than just America's sweetheart. You look at films like Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, those weren't just hits. They were statements.
Philadelphia especially. That was a bold choice.
Mm-hmm.
To play a man with AIDS. I mean, at a time when that was still very stigmatized. Yeah. This wasn't a lighthearted rom-com. This was a film that demanded empathy, understanding. What drove him to choose that role?
Well, the source doesn't explicitly say what his motivations were,
Okay.
but it highlights the physical and emotional commitment that Hanks brought to the role.
Mm-hmm.
He lost a significant amount of weight, really delved deep into the character's experience. It wasn't just acting, it was a transformation.
And the payoff was huge, right?
Yeah.
He wins his first Academy Award for Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
which, speaks volumes, not just to his talent, but to his willingness to take on such a challenging and socially relevant role.
It really solidified him as a serious dramatic actor. He wasn't afraid to tackle tough subjects, to use his platform to shine a light on important issues.
And then, of course, you have Forrest Gump,
Mm-hmm.
another iconic performance. I mean, it would have been so easy to portray Forrest as a caricature. But Hanks he infused the character with such depth, such humanity. He didn't shy away from Forrest's intellectual disability. He presented it with respect and sensitivity.
It's a masterclass in subtle acting.
Mm-hmm.
Hanks conveyed so much emotion through just simple gestures, facial expressions, and that signature warmth that he has. He didn't overpower the character. He really inhabited him.
And he wins his second consecutive Academy Award for that performance.
Back-to-back Oscars.
I mean, that's incredible. Very few actors achieve that. It really speaks to his impact on cinema during that time. But he doesn't stop there. He continues pushing himself with films like Saving Private Ryan and Cast Away, both of which are so different from his previous work.
And those films really are a testament to his range. Saving Private Ryan, that's a visceral war film. It demands so much, physically and emotionally. And Hanks, he embodies Captain Miller, this leader who's grappling with the horrors of war.
And then you have Cast Away, where he's essentially alone on screen for a good portion of that film.
Right.
Relying on very minimal dialogue to convey emotion. It's such a contrast to some of his more dialogue-heavy roles. It shows his willingness to adapt, to take risks.
Those two films almost kind of represent like two sides of resilience. In Saving Private Ryan, it's resilience against external conflict, the horrors of war.
Yeah.
And Cast Away is more about internal resilience, the struggle against isolation, despair.
It's a powerful statement about his versatility. He's not confined to one genre, one type of character. He's constantly challenging himself and the audience. But what about the man behind the roles? We've heard anecdotes about his kindness, his humility. Is this genuine, or is it, a carefully crafted public image?
Right. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Especially in an industry that's known for manufactured personas.
Yeah.
But the source consistently highlights Hank's genuine interactions with fans, his respect for his colleagues, and his philanthropic endeavors.
It's not just about being nice, right?
Yeah.
It's about using his platform for good, giving back to the community, advocating for causes he believes in. There's a sense that he sees himself as more than just an actor. He's a citizen with responsibilities.
It adds another dimension to his appeal, I think.
Yeah.
He's not just entertaining us, he's inspiring us. He's showing that, success doesn't have to come at the expense of your values. You can be talented, you can be successful, and you can be kind.
And that resonates with people.
I think so.
Because he's not, this distant star.
Right.
He's someone you could imagine having a conversation with, sharing a laugh with.
Exactly.
It humanizes him. It makes his achievements even more relatable. But even someone as seemingly, invincible as Tom Hanks, he faces setbacks.
Right.
The source mentions a health scare he experienced while filming The Da Vinci Code. That was a turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It really forced him to confront his own mortality, to reevaluate his priorities. And it wasn't just about bouncing back physically. It was about this deeper reflection on the fragility of life.
It's a reminder that no one is immune to life's curveballs.
Yeah.
Even with all the success, all the accolades, life can still throw challenges your way. How did this experience affect him? Did it change his approach to work or life in general?
The source suggests it led to this renewed focus on family and well-being. It wasn't necessarily about slowing down, but about being more present, savoring the moments, appreciating the journey.
It's almost like he reached this new level of maturity, this deeper understanding of what truly matters. It adds another layer of depth to his story, makes him even more human, more relatable.
Exactly. He's not just this perfect, untouchable figure. He's someone who's experienced hardship, who's learned and grown from those experiences. And it makes his success all the more meaningful, his journey all the more inspiring.
It has been quite a journey so far, from those humble beginnings to Hollywood triumphs to this commitment to family, the artistic evolution, even those moments of vulnerability. But we're not done yet. In part 3, we're going to pull all these threads together and try to answer the question, what is it about Tom Hanks that has made him such an enduring and beloved figure in Hollywood?
Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive into the extraordinary life and career of Tom Hanks.
So welcome back to our deep dive into the life and career of Tom Hanks. We've explored his journey from those early days all the way up to becoming a Hollywood icon, really. And we've seen his dedication to his craft, his commitment to family, and even those moments of vulnerability.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to kind of unpack all those layers of his story.
Yeah.
But the question remains, right? What makes him such an enduring, beloved figure?
Right.
What sets him apart from other talented actors who've, achieved similar levels of fame, success?
Yeah. It's more than just box office hits,
Yeah.
and awards. There's something about Tom Hanks that really resonates deeply with audiences.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's tapped into something universal, something that goes beyond generations, cultures.
I think one key element is this idea of him embodying the everyman.
Mm-hmm.
He often plays characters that we can all relate to.
Yep.
People who face everyday struggles, everyday triumphs.
Right.
They're not superheroes or larger than life figures.
Yeah.
They're us, just reflected back on the screen.
He has this knack for finding the humanity, even in really extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
Like whether it's, playing a soldier landing on Omaha Beach in Saving Private Ryan, or a man who's stranded on a deserted island in Cast Away.
Mm-hmm.
He makes you feel the emotional weight of those situations.
Yeah. And it's not just about the characters he plays, it's about how he plays them.
Yeah.
He brings this authenticity, this genuine warmth and sincerity to every role.
Yeah.
Like he's not even acting. He's just being.
And that sincerity extends beyond the screen too, right? I mean, we've
Yeah.
talked about his reputation for kindness, his humility,
Yeah.
his commitment to using his platform, for good. Do you think that consistency between his on-screen persona and his off-screen persona contributes to that enduring appeal?
Oh, absolutely. It reinforces the idea that what you see is what you get.
Right.
There's no pretense. There's no like Hollywood facade.
Yeah.
He's the same genuine, approachable guy, whether he's accepting an award or talking to fans on the street.
Right. It's like he's broken down that barrier between, celebrity and the audience.
I think so.
It doesn't seem distant or untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like someone, you could have a conversation with. You could share a laugh with.
And that relatability makes his success all the more appealing, I think. It's not just about fame and fortune. It's about achieving those things while remaining grounded, remaining kind, and connected to the world around you.
It's inspiring, to see someone achieve that level of success without compromising their values.
Mm-hmm.
He's a reminder that you can be, ambitious and driven and still be a good person.
He really embodies the idea that success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you are along the way.
Mm.
And I think that message really resonates with people.
Yeah, it does.
It gives them hope that they too can achieve their dreams without having to, sacrifice their integrity.
His career trajectory, his commitment to family, his philanthropic work, it all paints this picture of someone who is living a very fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Both personally, professionally.
And that's what makes him such an enduring figure.
Mm-hmm.
He's more than just an actor. He's a role model.
Yeah.
He represents the best of what we kind of aspire to be.
Yeah.
Talented, successful, kind, grounded.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this sense of admiration, really,
Mm-hmm.
not just for his talent, but for how he carries himself through life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful reminder that true success isn't measured by awards or box office numbers, but by the impact you have on the world, the connections you make along the way.
Yeah. And I think that's the most valuable lesson we can take away from Tom Hanks' story.
Yeah.
It's not just about reaching the top. It's about who you become on that journey
Mm-hmm.
and the legacy you leave behind.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.